gentlemen, let's Gaming video. Let us discuss the 23rd of December's Steam Christmas daily deals, and there are some absolute, well, fantastic deals available. First one is a Borderlands 2 Game of the Year edition. So this is available for 75% off, which brings it to $14.99 as US dollars. There's not much to say about this game other than it is ludicrously fun. There are some issues with weapons balance, primarily in the fact that there are tons of guns, yes, but a lot of them are derivatives or very similar to other guns, and honestly speaking, you kind of feel that they're just there sometimes for the sake of it. But aside from that, it's a really fun game. I'm sure most of you are aware of the formula. It's basically a first-person RPG. So not exactly in the way that, say, Fallout is, however. This game has its own brand of humour and controls pretty well. PC version is nice, good graphics options as well. I have done a first impressions of this so you could check it out, so you can get an idea of the rough gameplay. But overall, I would recommend it. The DLC for Borderlands 2 is also not shitty, which is a good thing. For example, you'll actually be getting quite a few hours out of each of the pieces of DLC. Whether you want to plump for the Game of the Year edition, or whether you just want to stick to Borderlands 2, I'll leave up to you. I do think you're going to be getting a lot of extra value with the Game of the Year edition, but if you just want something just to sink your teeth into now, and you know, you're not really sure because there's tons of other games you want to purchase on the sale, then by all means just pick up the base game. You're certainly not going to be disappointed. Next title is Rios. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly. Other people call it Rus, but whatever. 75% off, which brings it to $2.49. Honestly, I've not played this title, but the idea behind it is pretty simple. You get to control a bunch of giants, and with those giants you can pretty much alter the landscape. So for example, you can create oceans, you can create, say, forests and whatever. And the idea behind it is that although you get to control the world itself, you don't really get to control directly the inhabitants. So yeah, it sounds a pretty interesting concept. It scores fairly well, honestly, in things such as Metacritic, also GameSpot. A couple of other websites score it fairly well. I honestly can't tell you myself. I'd probably recommend doing a bit of Googling around. However, if you're interested in these type of god simulators, it's certainly not a bad price. You know, you're looking at $2.49 for, you know, for the love of goodness. It's not bad at all. Next title we're going to be moving along with is Amnesia Machine for Pigs. It's currently available for 50% off, which brings it to $9.99. Amnesia Machine for Pigs is of course a sequel to the original Amnesia: The Dark Descent. And this title definitely has a much nicer aesthetics. Graphics are a lot better, which does of course lead to a slightly better atmosphere. However, it is not anywhere near as mod friendly as the original. Surprisingly, I had some issues with the original Amnesia, which are fairly lengthy to discuss, but primarily I just didn't think that there was much of a penalty for death. Okay, so if you die, I actually got to the point where I was just like, I didn't care if I died, and as soon as you feel like that in a game, some of the scariness wears off. That's just me personally. Fortunately, a lot of this is fixed for a Machine for Pigs, which is a good thing. It's got a lot more narration in terms of the storyline. However, it possibly could have been done with a few more monsters. If you're interested in a horror-based title, you could certainly check it out. Amata has given tons of coverage on this on the channel, so maybe you could watch one or two of her walkthrough series just to get an idea whether this is your cup of tea. Obviously, if you're someone with a nervous disposition, then you're going to have a bad time with this one. Next game is Splinter Cell Blacklist Standard Edition and Deluxe Edition, both for 50% off. That brings it to $29.99 or $34.99. So there's also a couple of pieces of DLC, by the way, which are $149 and $349 respectively. Both are 50% off. So I've done a first impressions of Tom Clancy's Blacklist. And honestly, for a PC game, it's a PC port, I'm sorry, Ubisoft have done a fairly good job. It's by no means the best example. There are some lower resolution textures than I'd like in a couple of locations, but honestly, yeah, it's quite nice. Gameplay is pretty solid, it's more of the same Splinter Cell. I haven't played it a huge amount. Why? Honestly speaking, I don't like the hub-based nature of it. It kind of put me off. I do own it, and I will complete it because I know it's a good game, but I have to spend some more time in it. I would, however, recommend that you pick it up if you're interested in stealth games. In my opinion, Tom Clancy does cover the Splinter Cell series, does these type of games very well. I absolutely love the way that previous ones such as Conviction played in terms of the cover system, which felt natural, it didn't feel frustrating, and honestly, yeah, I'd recommend the title. The only slight caveat is if you're not super interested in stealth/action games, you could leave it for just a couple of months when no doubt there'll be another sale and you could pick it up again, maybe even slightly cheaper. But if you're interested in something to play now or you're looking to buy for someone else, you could do considerably worse than this game. It has a good storyline. As I said, you could check out my first impressions if you want more details. Next we have Shadowrun Returns, which is available for 55% off, which is $8.99, or if you want the deluxe edition, that's going to cost you $15.74. You can, by the way, also upgrade this, which is going to cost you $6.74. All of those are 55% off, which isn't shabby, honestly speaking. This is one of those titles I've never played. It's by Harebrained Schemes, and I have done a little bit of googling around. Reviews are somewhat mixed on this, but I'd recommend maybe checking out some first impressions videos, or maybe doing a bit of googling around with some reviews. As I said, they're fairly mixed. I haven't played it myself. I just can't play everything, obviously. It doesn't look bad for what it is, but at the same time, Next title, however, is going to be Trine 2. So there's actually a couple of options with Trine 2. Actually, there's dozens of different options with Trine 2, thinking about it. First of all is the complete story, which is $11.99. You can actually nab a free pack of this, which is $4. Or you could buy a Trine Complete, which is $2.49. You can also buy the Frozen Byte Collection, which has a bunch of different games in it for $5.24, and so on and so on. I'm not going to go through the whole bloody set because I'll be here for until Christmas. If you're curious about which one to get, I'd say buy Trine Complete, because that means you get Trine 1 and Trine 2 Complete Story, and honestly, for the price, it just makes sense. So this is basically a puzzle platformer, and Trine 1 had some issues. You could kind of cheat through quite a few of the puzzles in a kind of unfair way, but at the same time, a couple of the levels in the original Trine were very frustrating, particularly the end one, which absolutely sucked. So, as I said, the final level doesn't quite meet up to the quality of the rest of the game. Trine 2 fixes a lot of these issues. The game is absolutely beautiful. Sure, it might not look like something like... Sure, it's not something like Crysis 3 or Far Cry, but it has a very unique visual style, and honestly, the animation, the backgrounds, everything about it, it just oozes quality. There is a demo of this available, so I'd recommend that you check it out. But for the price, even if puzzle platformers aren't normally your thing, it could be far worse things to buy. Honestly, I'd say it's actually one of the better deals on the Steam right this moment. Next up, we have Contagion. I haven't checked this one out personally. It's currently an early access title, which is 75% off at $3.74. So this is built using the Source engine, and as we know, the Source engine is fairly old now, but they seem to have done a pretty good job graphically. It, isn't maybe the most beautiful looking game out there, but it certainly doesn't look too bad either. So the idea behind this is it is a survival type of title, survival horror type of FPS, if you will, and you are going to basically be trying to survive against hordes of zombies. The game does warn you to be extraordinarily careful with ammo. I've done a little bit of googling, and honestly, It looks like not many people have had huge amounts of issues with the game so far, and honestly, it looks like it's scoring fairly well in reviews. A lot of people are recommending it on things such as Metacritic and actual Steam itself. So yeah, I mean, you can check it out if you want. I guess it depends if, you know, zombie survival horror titles are your thing. It certainly doesn't look bad. Once again, fairly cheap title. They do say that they are constantly updating the title. In fact, pretty much every day. So yeah, not bad. Next one is Armor 3. So there are two versions of this. Both are 40% off. There's $35.99 or $38.99. That will buy you either the standard or the digital deluxe edition. I'll be honest with you, this is one of those games that I just never was interested in. I don't honestly know why. I mean, it doesn't look a bad game, and indeed scores extremely well on most websites, and those who are interested in it are playing it pretty damn religiously indeed. I can't really tell you what the positives and the negatives are. I do know that it's not exactly a run and gun Battlefield or Call of Duty type of game, so if you're interested in a more realistic war title, then you could certainly be doing a lot worse. I'd recommend maybe doing a little bit of googling, checking around, doing a little bit of gameplay, maybe looking at some match videos, that type of thing, and forming your own opinion. Finally, we have Castle Crashers. There are two ways you can actually sample this. First of all, there's a demo, and Amata has done a first impressions of this as well. It's currently available on Steam for 75% off, which is the rather standard $3.74. Now, this is a brawler type of game, 2D brawler, and you make your way through the levels. It's cooperative, by the way, so you can make your way through the levels, sort of like Streets of Rage, but a lot sillier. It's actually highly recommended by quite a few people, and reviews and so on are pretty good. Personally speaking, I haven't played it, however Amata assures me it's really good. There is a demo of it available, so that's certainly not a bad option to, you know, at least whet your appetite. Or if you can't be bothered with the demo, you could just search on YouTube Castle Crashers, and on this very channel there is some gameplay that she's done, so you can check out, you know, what you think of the title. Regardless, that's everything. Yay, got to finish it. So, hopefully you've enjoyed it. Hopefully my internet continues to survive, because I've had absolutely huge issues with it today. I don't know what the hell's going on. Perhaps it's the weather in England or something or another, but bloody hell, it's been completely and utterly unreliable today, which is a huge pain in my buttocks. Regardless, I will let you get going. Hopefully you've enjoyed the video and found it a little bit informative. I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye for now.